Hello out there and welcome to Public Conscience. This is the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. PRIMOG is a civil society group with a mandate to promote good governance, participation, and accountability in Nigeria. I am Adaobi Obiabumo with Chidozie Ogbonnaya.
Welcome to the program.
On Public Conscience on Radio, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government attention for democratic actions against it. This program is supported by the MacArthur Foundation. On today's program, we will be looking at corruption in our tertiary institutions with focus on how millions of naira went into private pockets at Federal University Lokoja, Kogi State.
Earlier in the month, a report by the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, revealed monumental fraud, corruption, abuse of office, and violation of procurement processes at the Federal University Lokoja, Kogi State.
According to the report, the university is said to have a history of corruption. However, the report says the underhand dealings became more obvious recently. The 2017 Auditor General Annual Report revealed that the university authorities failed to remit 61.9 million, being the 25% of internally generated revenue (IGR) for 2015 and 2016 into the federal government's Consolidated Revenue Fund account.
However, Federal University Lokoja is not the only government-owned institution of higher learning involved in one form of financial misappropriation or another.
The Auditor General's report of 2014 to 2017 indicted several tertiary institutions in Nigeria of infractions relating to financial misappropriation, fraud, and other abuses of office. Under the tertiary institution listed in the Auditor General's report are Federal University Oyo Ekiti of 276 million naira, University of Lagos 1 billion naira, Federal University Otueke of 133 million naira, University of Abuja 603 million naira. These institutions failed to remit the internally generated revenue into the Consolidated Revenue Fund. In a bid to better understand the report of massive misappropriation of public funds at the Federal University Lokoja, we will be interacting with Yekin Akinwale, a reporter with ICIR, here in the studio. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, and that will be good morning, our listeners.
We also have in the studio Jide Ojo. He is a public affairs analyst. Welcome to the program.
My pleasure, Adelby. Good morning, Nigerians.
Please follow us on our social media platforms at Official PRIMOG. PRIMOG is spelled PRIMORG. We also streaming live on Facebook at Official PRIMOG, and you can watch our videos on PRIMOG TV, our YouTube channel.
We want to encourage you to subscribe so that you can get reminders whenever we have a new post. And remember that this program is interactive. You can send us a message on 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. This number is for messages only. I want to welcome you again to the program.
Thank you, Adaobi.
Could you please give us an overview of your report and what motivated your organization, ICIR, to go into this investigation?
Yeah, thank you very much. Sometimes in February this year, we were working on some document volunteered to us by some concerned Nigerians concerning corruption, abuse of office, and misappropriation of funds at the Federal University Lokoja. So, the document contained a series of allegations against the Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Angela Mary Freeman. And while we were doing the on-the-ground findings to be able to establish all the allegations, my office also filed an FOI request to the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, where we were able to get the 2017 report. In that report, as Adobe has rightly mentioned, quite a number of federal universities and other tertiary institutions were indicted of one corruption or the other. And there, we came across the Federal University Lokoja, where we found out that the internally generated revenue of the university in 2015 and 2016, the 25% of the money were actually not remitted into the federal government cover as stipulated by the law. But we realized that that was not the only money not remitted. There are also...
So there are other...
Yes.
Financial misappropriation.
Yeah, and with that Auditor General's report, it helped us to establish some of the allegations that were contained in the document we were working on. So we have to now dig deep to see who got what, who transferred what into what account. And it was actually mouth-watering what we find out, as you can see in the report.
So let's go into your findings, because in your report, the current Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Angela Mary, was mentioned severally, and you also indicated that your organization found it difficult to interact, to get her to talk. And just tell us what has transpired under her watch as the Vice Chancellor.
Well, let me start with the fact that ethically, when you do this kind of reports of this magnitude, it is expected that all the parties that are involved are given fair hearing, especially when a Vice Chancellor is concerned, is involved. So we felt that we have to do a balanced report by actually listening to her too. Unfortunately, yes, so that
of the story,
if the allegations were true or not. But while we're trying to do that, we put call across a number of times. Then we follow up the calls with SMS, text message to her, mobile call. The only time that she answered, because she said she was in a meeting that we should call back.
Did you try calling back?
Yes, subsequent calls were not answered. Then we felt maybe she was busy, because a Vice Chancellor would definitely have so many schedules, activities to attend to. So we followed those calls up with SMS. And up till when the report was published, and up till now, we've not had anything.
She didn't respond?
Yes.
Okay. Your report, you also mentioned that you interacted with some officials in the bursary department. Could you please tell us more about
Yes, thank you very much. In the 2017 Auditor General report, there was an aspect that shows that money were paid into two private accounts. The account number were listed, but the name were not actually provided. So we did our due diligence and were able to extract the names of the owners of the account. Subsequently, we also get across to them, we talked to them. The two of them, if you permit me, I can mention their name on here.
Go ahead, because it's already in the report.
So there's one that is Emmanuel Ojo. Then there's one that is Elogion Atanzi. The two of them are staff of the university bursary. At the time the money was being transferred to the account, they were faculty account officers at different faculty. One was at the Faculty of Social Science, and the other one, I think, is Faculty of Science. They admitted that the money was actually paid into their account, that it was the prerogative of the management of the university, that they didn't know what the money was for. However, they said it was at the point when the federal government came up with the Treasury single account, instructing all the public institutions to close down all their bank accounts with commercial bank and then operate a single treasury account, that they needed to move up those money for some exigencies in their faculties.
So they had to pay into individual accounts.
Exactly. That's what they said. That they, as officers of the university, did not have power to stop that. According to them, they said when the new Vice Chancellor came, that the balance of the money were paid back into the university, into the treasury account, and they had their evidences.
If I get it correctly, the school authority paid monies into these individuals' accounts.
Exactly, over 5 million naira.
Over 5 million, which ordinarily they shouldn't have done.
It's a violation of the federal government law.
So after they have made their expenses, the balance of the money was paid back into the treasury account.
So they claim.
They claim.
Yes.
But what was the most outstanding finding from your research?
Well, there are so many of them, but the most outstanding, I would say, is the payment into the account of the Vice Chancellor, a private account, the money for the renter of her official residence at the time she was appointed newly in March 2016. The payment of the money into a private account was a clear violation of the Procurement Act. It's a clear violation of the Financial Regulation 713, because the money ought to have been paid into a designated committee account that ought to have executed that project on behalf of the university, not directly into the Vice Chancellor account.
The money was supposed to go through a committee.
Yes, not directly into an account. And that did not end there. We were also able to find out that when the money was paid into account, the Vice Chancellor also did some transfer from that amount into account that belongs to her son and another fellow who is neither a staff of the university or a relation, as you can see in the report.
Was there an explanation for the payment to her son's account and this other party's account?
Actually, because she didn't answer us, probably she would have given us her own explanation, but the money was meant for the renovation of the official residence acquired for her or rented for her, and that was not done. The amount was not completely used for that purpose. So it was so outstanding for me that even at the ivory towers, where you expect that people would be above board in terms of respecting the laid down rules and regulation and be abiding, because at the university, when you want to graduate, they say you have been found worthy both in learning and character. So people who mold our leaders in terms of personality and academic performance are also the ones that are now swelling their hands in on the handlings. It's so outstanding.
So let me comment here. During that your course in the investigation, did you get the position of any other person or group, association, staff association, or everybody was in sync with what is going on?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a report that is very big, and there's no way we would have been able to do a comprehensive report without talking to other parties, one of which is the academic staff of University ASU.
Okay.
ASU is a very big stakeholder in the Nigerian university system. So while we're trying to get other people's voices so that it will not be as if we were one-sided,
we needed to balance the report.
Yeah, so we reach out to the chairman of the ASU at the university, Dr. Folorunsho Joseph, who also confirmed that yes, I'm not only aware that there were underhand dealings in the university. Of course, I know that so many things have taken place under the watch of this Vice Chancellor. He also told us that yes, the two officials of the bursary department who received money into their private account ought to have been interrogated, if possible, even prosecuted. He also mentioned the fact that even the Vice Chancellor herself ought to by now have been called by the anti-corruption agency and then interrogated, but that he was aware of all these activities, and the union as a stakeholder in the university has also been making effort all this while by writing petition here and there to make sure that the right things are done in the university.
Okay. Chidojo, I would bring you in. I'm sure you have heard the report by the ICIR and the massive corruption at the Federal University Lokoja, as well as the indictment by the Auditor General's report on other universities. How would you react to this, sir?
Well, nothing shocks me about Nigeria again.
Really?
Yes, because we have seen it before. Auditor General report of 2017 stinks to the high heavens, and you ask yourself what has been done. Hundreds of MDAs are fingered to have either misappropriated or corruptly enriched themselves. But then it has remained a paper tiger. The Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly are supposed to be in receipt of this Auditor General's report. What action has been taken? It is part of the Senate and House of Reps Committee on Public Accounts to actually oversight these MDAs. And when an Auditor General of the Federation has come up with this kind of report 3 years ago, nothing has been done. And like my brother Yekin said, you will have expected the anti-corruption agencies to have swooped in and interrogate this dramatic personnel. But nothing seems to have been done. But for those who petition or volunteer the information that ICR is working on, you possibly will not have known. And of course, like he explained, it was in the course of investigation they now stumbled on the Auditor General's report that actually strengthened what has now been said about the Vice Chancellor of Federal University Lokoja. So I thought in a Senate climb by now either the Office of Secretary to the Federal Government or maybe Ministry of Education or somebody within the system will have taken this report and run with it and are calling if not the police, calling the anti-corruption agencies, ICPC, the EFCC, because it's a clear breach of public service regulation, clear breach of Treasury single account, and several other breaches. I mean, if a school generates internally generated, which runs into it, and I'm shocked about my alma mater, University of Lagos, that it also is fingered in this 1 billion naira unremitted fund. And you know, of course, Unilag has its own crisis, which is just gradually being resolved, because this issue of corruption actually is what led to the exit of the immediate past Vice Chancellor, and now they have an acting Vice Chancellor. Of course, the Pro Chancellor who initiated this, the removal of the VC after the board, what is it called, the council, University Council met, have had to resign after the visitation panel report came out. That's Dr. I've forgotten his name. Yes, the point actually is, year in, year out, we have audit reports. What has happened? If nothing has happened, that's why the culture of impunity will continue to be consolidated. Because people will say, not today. And that's why people are cynical about government. Not today. Even when you have trillion naira, unaccounted for, not today, they know the system, they know how to get away with all of these infractions and east. But it is too early in the days to call somebody thief until when a court of competent jurisdiction have made that pronouncement. So the woman is still deemed innocent. Until proven guilty. I think something should have triggered proper action. Like I said, I don't know whether it lies with
action by the anti-graft agency.
The issue is this: what is the University Council's position? And I think part of what ICRR should do now is to talk to the Pro Chancellor of Federal University of
Lokoja.
Federal University Lokoja. Talk to the Pro Chancellor. Talk to the whoever the. He has spoken with the ASU chairman who said this.
Maybe the Senate. of the university?
It's the Vice Chancellor that constitutes the Senate. But at least the Pro Chancellor, the whoever again is within that system, maybe the Bossa, and also maybe petition the because I don't know whether ICR have the power to, in the interest of there is something called public interest litigation, whether they can go to court to seek order of mandamus to even get the Federal Ministry of Education, who I believe is the disbursing authority for all the federal institutions in Nigeria, to take action. Because see, Adobe, when actions are not taken, there will be more and more infractions by subsequent managers of the system. And that is why I said, to break the culture of that impunity, ICRR has done a very beautiful job. They've done a very commendable work. But it should not end there. After the expose, what next? What next? Maybe ICRR should now petition the EFCC.
I was going to ask him that. Did you write to the ICPC?
To petition ICPC to take action, so that at least there will be some follow-up. They can now supply the ICPC with what they have come up with, alongside with the Auditor General's report of 2017.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Did you petition the ICPC? Did you write to the ICPC?
To my best of knowledge, we feel we have done our own side of the bargain by bringing out the issues into the fore, and that is what actually triggered the conversation that we're having this morning. Yes, I feel terrible that after all the legwork, after everything that we have done, nothing has happened. Nobody has been called to answer questions. And it might also interest you that the people who have been writing petitions have been doing that as far back as 2018 and 2019. They have written to the presidency, copied the EFCC, the ICPC, the NUC, the Federal Ministry of Education, and nothing has happened. So it's very worrisome that the government is feeling ignorance of all this happening, despite
the report is in the public domain,
damning evidences. And you want to ask yourself as a journalist, because we are getting overwhelmed by the volume of corruption in the system, the volume of what we have to do. You mentioned Federal University of Oyekiti. I did a 2-part report on Oyekiti on similar issue. Up till now, nothing has happened, including how the Vice Chancellor was also appointed when he did not even merit the appointment. So we expect that other civil society organizations that are interested or that focus on anti-corruption would be able, as Primark has done now, pick up some of our report, then amplify it so that the appropriate government agency, the ICPC, the AFCC, the NUC would take it up, so that while they do that, we also focus on another report. Thanks.
Okay, I think it's time for us to open the phone line for you out there listening to join the conversation. How do we get our anti-graft agencies to take advantage of investigative reports exposing corruption in our government offices? We have been interacting with Yakin Akinwande of ICIR and Jido Ojo, who is a public affairs analyst. Yakin, while you were conducting your investigation, how will you rate the infrastructure at the university?
Well, let us not forget that Federal University Lokoja is one of the 12 federal universities established by the former President Goodluck Jonathan. So, between when they were established and now, many of them are still at their infancy stage, trying to build infrastructure, both human and material wise. So for this university, it's still operating both on temporary and permanent sites. As we speak, the main road that goes to the permanent site is still not constructed. One would have expected that with the volume of the budgetary allocation to the university, that should have been the priority of the university. If you come into a university environment, what gives you a good impression about the university is the environment, what you see. The road is still not constructed. I have in the...
What you saw wasn't convincing.
No, it can never be. It can never be. I have in the petition that we worked on some aspect of the road that it was hurriedly graded at the point when the university wanted to do convocation sometimes in 2018. So up till now, it has not been done. Even this university main gate that was recently done, I understand that it was also hurriedly done. So in terms of infrastructure, the university is still struggling, because the population of students is growing, and if you do place the population growth side by side,
there's no commensurate infrastructure development.
Yes.
Well, let me come to Jidojo, because when ICR go out and make painstaking effort in making sure that such reports come out, and even the Auditor General's report, which is out there, which is even a government agency. So what is the bottleneck of the government to take actions at the point of seeing this report, Mr. Jidoji?
Well, you know the answer yourself. There is lack of political will. There is lack of political will, because if there have been petitions, according to what my brother here said, there have been petitions to the presidency, copied to ICPC, FCC, NUC, and Federal Ministry of Education, and there is still no action taken. It then shows that we are not serious about fighting corruption. We are not serious because, you see, and this is very heart-rending for me. It's heart-rending in the sense that you see the very parallel state of infrastructure in many of these institutions, and you wonder. University fought tooth and nail to get autonomy. They did get it after holding government to ransom on a number of occasions. Now with the financial autonomy, this is what has become of. And you ask the question, where is the University Council in all of this? There are checks and balances within the system. If the University Council is inaugurated, they are in place, and they have this petition, I assume, and the Pro-Chancellor didn't do anything about it, didn't query, didn't deem it fit to suspend, didn't take action to invite the visitation panel. That's what, take it or leave it, that's what Dr. Wale Babalakin did in University of Lagos. That's commendable.
So what you're saying is that the University Council
it was
should
the Pro-Chancellor. If you read the allegation leveled against the immediate past Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, that he appropriated money without the council's approval for the renovation of his own official residence and that of the bursar, beyond his approving capacity. Do you understand? And he was caught, and they received his own statement. He was even given opportunity to defend himself. But when the University Council was not suspended, they held a meeting here in Abuja, voted, and that was when the suspension was announced, and an acting VC asked to take over. That is because the university is now autonomous. And it was after that, although, I must not fail to say there were the action of the council generated a lot of furore, because many of the unions in the University of Lagos didn't want the Vice Chancellor to be removed, and those who actually believe he should go, I felt that due process was not followed in the appointment of the acting Vice Chancellor. But what I'm saying in respect of Federal University Lokoja is, where is the council?
So the Vice Chancellor should be suspended, and
what did it? No, not all. It's the council that can constitute, that can hold meeting and have him or her suspended. And that's why I'm saying, if that council has been inaugurated, because I do understand that many a time the councils of many ministries, departments, and agencies are never inaugurated, some for 2, 3, 5 years. But if they have a council in place, there is a pro-chancellor in place, and there is this petition from 2017 audit report.
2014, 2017.
2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. This audit report indicted a particular set of individuals, and now an NGO has done an independent investigation, also strengthening what the Auditor General said, the council should have reacted. At least that's the minimum, irreducible minimum. The council should have reacted. Even the Senate of the university should have reacted. I know there was a time that the University of Abuja was in crisis over the Vice Chancellor's actions and decisions. You know, so what I'm saying is that, you know, charity begins at home. Before we call ICPC, EFCC and all of the council should have had a reaction over this issue and should have been the one to escalate it to maybe, because sometimes in bureaucracy, I don't be my brother, in bureaucracy sometimes when due process was not followed in channeling certain files or maybe memos, it may be ignored. I don't know if you understand my drift. Yes. It's not like civil society where, you know, you just do a mail and then somebody is acting on your email. Some people may say it was only copied. The memo was not directed to me. You understand? That kind of, they can dodge under that kind of scenario to say, okay, this memo was sent to the presidency, but was only copied. I was only copied in, and my being copied in does not mean I should take action. So until something else happens, maybe what those anti-corruption agencies are looking forward to is a direct petition to them, not that somebody is copying them. Even though I know that anti-corruption agencies, when they want to be proactive, they can, even where you have not petitioned, EFCC has the power to investigate you even when you have not petitioned them. It's only ICPC, I think, you have to send a formal petition to. So what I'm saying is that I don't understand the dynamics of how some of these things happen. But my own drawing inference from what happened in University of Lagos of very recently, I'm talking of what happened last month or thereabout, because I also wrote about it in my column in The Punch. And that has set up a chain of reactions to the extent that the federal government now sent a visitation panel to the University of Lagos to, one, to even the supervised another Senate meeting where the acting Vice Chancellor was now properly appointed. Because the one that was appointed by the council when they had meeting here in Abuja was rejected by the unions, that they didn't follow due process in appointing that professor of sociology, I've forgotten his name. But eventually they now had to appoint somebody from Medilag, the medical. So the point is, sometimes things like this, you need to give, benefit of doubt. The woman has been indicted, but no further action has taken place. Now we are looking for pressure points to make actions happen, because if there is no action and she finishes her tenure and she goes home, or maybe she goes back to the classroom, another incoming administration may or may not take action on that.
Okay, but we'll get back to you. We have a message from Patrick Okpa, and he says, the nation is filled with corrupt men and women in high places.
The inability of the university governing councils to take action, it seems to me that many of the vice chancellors across universities, both state and federal universities, have become emperors. So much so that they have actually pocketed even the governing councils. In the face of glaring evidences, you find out that even the governing council's member would not do anything. The instance I said is that of the Federal University of Yale Kitty.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is Ifam. I'm calling from Abuja.
Go ahead, please.
I really want to ask you guys a question first. The question is, can Nigeria ever live without having corrupt citizens, first of all, when you're talking about corruption, we only blame the government and other people, but we have come to see in this world that corruption is in everybody. It's like as if I don't know whether it's as if it's passed through blood or something.
She made her point already. I think later Jidojo will respond to that effect. But going forward,
are we all corrupt?
We are not all corrupt. But when the level of trust, we don't trust our people in public offices, we don't trust our politicians. I believe he will address that issue more.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Johnson. I'm calling from Abuja.
Let's hear you, Johnson.
Yeah. The corruption index in Nigeria has risen so much that I'm beginning to believe that this corruption club now in Nigeria where members cannot prosecute each other. That is why every day you hear of corruption in high places without prosecution. I think if this administration that says they are fighting corruption means what they say, I think they should hunt down on this corruption club, which I am believing that there is existing somewhere that we don't know, that members cannot be touched. I believe strongly that if Nigeria will move forward, everywhere that there are people people in high authority that are corrupt must be traced down and be dealt with, irrespective of whichever position you hold, your status in the society. Hello?
We can hear you.
Yeah, that's my submission.
Thank you so much. Mr. Yakim, have you heard of Corruption Club before?
I'm hearing that for the first time.
But he made a point. If actually there is a corruption club where members cannot prosecute themselves, I don't know if that's the reason for...
I kind of agree with the caller somehow, but it's not a club. If there's a corruption allegation going on in a school, you just mentioned what is the governing council doing. Then come down to the EFCC, the ICPC, there is no voice coming. But so what do we do in the midst of this deafening silence?
We also should ask, what is the student union of that school doing? The student union in my days are champion of the rights of the students. And because the idea we are talking about, who contributed the idea? It's the students. It's the students' money. Pay for this levy, pay for that levy. Now you have made the contribution and somebody is misappropriating what the commonwealth of the school.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Mr. Divine, the General.
Mr. Divine, the General, let's hear you.
I won't give Mr. Bidojo God salute if there's any. From me, I'm giving you God salute because all your explanation, all your analysis is one that we have to be compliment. When you say corruption, and this administration, sorry to take you out of there, this administration actually, or let me go what the president himself came into power to see whether he can fight corruption. Not collecting interest. But when he came in, he saw that he can. Because the power being inside the government cannot allow him to do so. Okay, now, in the university you're talking about, and this is after the student contribution and all that, you cannot just bring external bodies or bring this one or bring that one for they come and give me account of this, account of that. There will be a manipulator.
Okay, thank you so much for your submission. Chiteojo, you were saying something about the students' union being active in your time.
I mean, you will have expected them to go on Aluta to say no. Either this woman should step down as vice chancellor, or that she be investigated, and if found culpable, should be prosecuted. But the docility of the student union, although Yakin also said something about the complicity of the system. There's a lot of complicity within the system. So much that maybe because they have spread the corruption around, even the watchdog has become part of the because you know.
So your name and where you're calling from?
This is Dausa from City.
Welcome to the program. How do we get our anti-graft agencies to take advantage of
corruption? So we can only minimize corruption. It can be eradicated. Why? Because when our leader is corrupt, so we don't expect good things to happen.
When you mean our leader is corrupt?
They gave me that time to work for APC. I collected their money, but I voted for Baseki. Is it not corruption?
Are you not part of the corrupt people for having collected money?
That's what I'm saying. It's something start from grassroots to grace. That's what I'm saying. So do you expect me to give that money? It's not that money they keep. Thank you.
We don't encourage people to collect or receive money from politicians and then vote their conscience, like some would say. Don't receive the money in the first place.
No matter how you paint it, inducement is inducement.
So I'd like to talk about the complicity that Mr. Ojo talked about. Somebody called in and talked about the corruption club. If in a university you have the governing council that has the power to appoint the vice chancellor, then we have also seen situation whereby the school management is also now having vested interest in who becomes the SUG president.
Exactly.
So if a council appoints a vice chancellor, it has become a norm now in the university that the vice chancellor does everything humanly possible to appease the council, so that when he or she does anything wrong, they look the other side.
So there's a corruption club.
That's, of course it is. The
Corruption
same
club.
way the SUG that you have expected that ordinarily should mobilize to the street and say, yes, we have to burn down the VC office down, would have also been sorted out, taken care of. So they are not even concerned about the welfare of their fellow students. So it's a serious problem that we're having in the country.
Okay.
So, Mr. Jojo, who will bear the cat in this case?
In
Well,
1 minute,
we just need to apply pressure points to make the system act. You see, corruption is like HIV/AIDS. You are either infected or affected. Right now, underdevelopment is very stark in that school. The road to the school is not constructed, yet you have that kind of 61 million, you say, misappropriated, unaccounted for. And so when people just collect peanuts, crumbs to look the other way, they are doing injustice to the entire university system, because that is where characters are supposed to be molded. Do you know that your award of certificate after graduation is not for only learning, it's also for character, for learning and character. That's why when you belong to secret cult on campus, even if you are on first class, the school can deny you graduation, because they will say, yes, you have excelled in learning but not in character. So we must reform our ivory tower, because that's where the future leaders are molded. Okay, you graduate from that kind of school, and then you go for your youth service, and then you are in the employment. If you have been sorted out as union leaders, when you should fight for the rights of your fellow students, so but because somebody when you assume it continues, because that's the kind of people that will now be trading job opportunities, asking people to come and contribute money. But the system must be such that even with whether somebody copied me or the message is directed to me, at least let there be prima facie case established. Let the court decide, because when impunity reigns, underdevelopment will be the norm.
Okay, thank you so much. When impunity reigns, underdevelopment would be the norm. Yakim, last word from you.
Well, I would say we will not get tired as journalists, as Nigerian citizens who believe very much in the project called Nigeria, because we know that corruption is not our culture, it's not part of us, it's alien. So in as much as we feel discouraged by the lukewarm attitude of the government, the relevant agencies that are supposed to take action, because as journalists, our duty and responsibility is first to the society. So we will always be the eyes and the ears of the society, as the watchdog of the society, of the government that the Constitution has given us. We will not get tired. I can assure you that this is not the last that you are going to hear about the Federal University Lokoja or any other university that is indicted in the Auditor General report. More reports are still coming. Thank you.
Okay. This is not the last. We are waiting. We're looking forward to more reports from ICIR. Yes. And Primorg is always here to amplify, give voice to it.
Thank you
and
so much.
Concerned citizens, you have a responsibility also to speak up, to speak up, to speak up when issues of infractions are done anywhere you find yourself. Dozie, we have to go.
Yeah, we must continue talking. We won't stop. Please visit the news page of our website, news.primorg.org. That is news.primorg.org. For all the details of our report and interviews, visit our website, primorg.org, to get all the information about Primorg.
We appreciate Yakim Adewale of ICIR and Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst, for being a part of today's edition of Public Conscience. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Nice being here.
Public Conscience is supported by the John T. and Catherine D. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation at its website, macfound.org.
Please join us again next week for another interesting episode of Public Conscience, and remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Official Primorg. My name is Chidozie Ogbonnaya.
Official Primorg, that is our social media handle. Many thanks for being part of today's edition. I am Adaobi Obiabomo.